Question, and we hope that you'll enable us to develop a line of argument and flow, which is, after all, the purpose of scrutiny.
We're talking to the point of order, Debbie Narewa-Packer.
We also share the sentiments. I mean, the whole purpose of this was to make sure that the smaller parties weren't discriminated or disadvantaged. I found yesterday's behaviour was really stifling from the chair. I've attended these things 3 years previously and never have we been as stifled as we were yesterday.
To the point of order, Mr. Chair.
So there is a precedent for that.
Speaking to the point of order, Mr. Chair.
Speaking to the point of
the
order.
guidance that has come out subsequent to what you have just alluded to, under Standing Order 141.1, I would really urge you, Mr. Chair, to take on board that guidance which supersedes the scrutiny of the previous time. This is a developing kaupapa in jurisprudence, as you'd be aware.
Yes,
and so that is the latest guidance from the standing orders.
No, thank you for sharing that, and I am aware of that. Look, it is also for the chair to determine where the question allocation will be. I will note that this discussion, while it is quite useful, we've already eaten into 4 minutes of our time with the minister. So probably not the best use of this committee's time. Would you like us to move to where I was
that's the power you asserted
before?
yesterday too, was the timing.
Like
When else are we meant to debate it?
Sorry,
That line that you used is cutting into the question time is exactly the line and the power that you used yesterday. When are we meant to debate it?
Dr. Farrell.
Thank you, Dr. Reti. You claimed Health New Zealand was on track for a deficit of $1.8 billion. You were wrong by $1 billion. Can you explain that?
There have been significant challenges with Health New Zealand.
Supplementary, that was not the question. The question was, how were you wrong by $1 billion? Not why you had increased costs. Those have been well documented. But to be out by $1 billion and then justify billions of health cuts seems to be a reckless management of public health services.
Health New Zealand is now currently overspending against budget at the rate of approximately $130 million a month. So I go to Luke, sorry.
Dr. Reti, obviously you're minister, you're a creature of the system. What are the 14 layers in between the patient and the CEO?
Well, look, there's an org chart which I've seen, which is just mind-boggling. I could not name the different layers of wayfinders, pathfinders, boundary spanners, Lord knows what else from A to B. I could not name them for you, Luke.
Would you be able to send that org chart around?
I can certainly approach the Commissioner to send around the chart and the information we have on that.
From
How
2022,
were you wrong by $1
that
billion?
That then meant that Health New Zealand was unable to accurately account for the costs until it was too late, until we needed to actually rein it in and get closer scrutiny of those accounts. So I would point it back to comments that the Auditor General has highlighted over previous years.
Supplementary. Well, we have the audited accounts and they show that most of the current deficit, which is far less than you originally estimated, is to do with staffing costs. That is a given. But you stood on a podium earlier in this year, fired a board, appointed a commissioner, started a reign of health cuts, saying there would be a $1.6 to $1.8 billion deficit. That is not true. Did you manufacture a crisis to justify your cuts?
No, you manufactured the crisis. And what we've needed to do is actually needed to fix it. 1.4 billion was the deficit as we extrapolated it from March. It's now turned out to be 1.76 as we've got amongst it. This is not manufactured. This is real. And the Auditor General can see that.
We have a primary here from Dr. Kerr. Sorry, from Dr. Kerr. Okay, we have supplementaries from Auditor and then Ingrid Leary.
The Auditor General has found that Health New Zealand did not appropriately in its draft accounts account for redundancies or holiday pay, and that has caused a significant reduction in the deficit for the year under review. Did you instruct the Commissioner to present a set of accounts that manufactured a crisis over the year under reviews, funding to make it look like there was a deficit and justify your cuts?
No, and no. If we look back, first of all, at the parts that the Auditor General has commented on, if we look at the issue of restructuring, we were interested in whether some of that restructuring could sit in the previous financial year. Discussions were had with the Auditor General. Discussions were had with the Auditor General. And then the Auditor General made a compelling case, and so it now sits in this financial year. Fine, everyone agrees, no problem. The second is around a holiday pay remediation, and that's been a long-standing issue over several years because it's hard to calculate. We had discussions with the Auditor General around the size of that. And in fact, what they wanted us to do was to have less of a contingency. We think with an abundance of caution, it probably should have been bigger. And again, we've landed in a position where the Auditor General's happy to sign through the accounts.
Ingrid Leary.
Is my colleague able to give you a last supplementary?
She may.
Please?
Yes.
Why was the report for Health New Zealand only tabled yesterday when it contains these crucial issues that have been used to justify health cuts, and we're expected to be across a 200-something plus report in order to hold you account? This is an unprecedented level of secrecy about important public spending.
No, not at all. The Auditor General is resource constrained. For example, the health plan, which we're very keen to bring forward, the health plan, which we're very keen to bring forward, has been with the Auditor General, and they tell us it will be another 2 to 3 months because of their resources. So this is resources with the Auditor General checking it as well. We've been in discussions with them for some period of time.
A point of order. That wasn't an answer to my question, Mr. Chair. When did the annual report arrive in your office?
The annual report arrived in my office by memory over this past week or two, as I recall. I would need to get you, I can get you specific timings, but that's my recollection.
So why was it tabled so late in Parliament?
Well, because obviously clearly we needed to have a look at it and we wanted to understand it as well so that we could be prepared.
Well, it's very convenient when you're $1 billion off in your estimate for us not to have a chance to actually have it in our hands.
Yes, thank you. And also I'd just like to pick up on that question because it's very difficult for us to do our scrutiny work when the annual report and many of the questions from the Health Select Committee questionnaire have come in extremely late. 4 documents landed yesterday. And you have mentioned yourself, Minister, about the need for performance measures and proper indicators. And yet when we go through these questions, there is no detail for us on many questions around when cuts were made, to whom, who exited, which particular ethnic groups such as Māori, for example, and staff exits. None of that data appears to be captured. How can you be held to account when you are deliberately hiding the information from us and dumping it on us at the last minute?